Let's talk about the way that traditional roles are broken down. Now, an intelligent cult will have highly specialized roles. And the more specialized the roles, the more competent an individual is capable of becoming within a given role. And so if you have a dedicated priest, a dedicated plumber, a dedicated baker, statistically speaking, you're going to become more competent. On the flip side, one of the downsides of this specialization is the merging of the personality with the role. So, for example, if the priest is always the priest, then when the priest wants to sexually abuse children, as 5% of Catholic priests have been known to do, then you've got a problem, because the person is linked with the role. So it's not some guy who's horny who's asking you to suck his dick. It's a embodiment of God. And one of the ways around that, and one of the hacks to differentiate the individual from the role, is things like this, a ritual or costume that says that this is the time for the ceremony. This is what cues the ritual, so that the role is now in effect. And so this is a symbol of something, and this is a symbol of something, and the background is a symbol of something, and the topic is a symbol of something. And those collage together to activate the areas of the brain, the areas of the psyche that relate to that role. And then the question becomes how polluted versus how potent is the role, is the symbol. Because once you introduce a symbol, you can think of paper fiat money. If you do not treat the symbol with respect, i.e. print too much money, it becomes worthless. On the other hand, if you treat it with too much respect, it becomes scarce and unworkable. It becomes too concentrated. You know, one of the big tensions right now is between Bitcoin and fiat currency. And Bitcoin may be too pure in its limitation of 21 million Bitcoins, whereas fiat money may become too worthless if governments just keep printing it without any underlying connection to labor and goods produced. It becomes a watered down symbol, much like a priest who doesn't really believe what they're saying, who abuses their power to get parking at Safeway and, put out their priestly thing, and, tries to get hooked up by wearing a robe, etc. Well, this is not really going to help the reputation of the symbol of priest. It becomes a little bit of a joke. And so, in this question, are you a joke? Are you contributing to the joke of your symbol? Or are you bringing value to it? It is based on the integrity, the integration, and the quality with which the symbol is treated. And so, if you make a church and then you treat the church like something sacred and you beautify it and visit it, etc., it becomes a flourishing and a potent symbol. You create a church and don't go and use it and prefer to spend money on video games rather than doing the painting and stuff to maintain it, then it becomes a watered down symbol. And so the same is true with a marriage. Being married or not married is utterly meaningless. The potency of that word is dependent on the vitality of the mutual investment in the word. I'm married. I just don't know what my partner's thinking today. I don't know what their goals are. I don't know what their biggest pains and their biggest pleasures are recently. I don't know if they believe me on this, and they know very little about what's going on in my mind because I haven't told them, but we're married. Well, that just makes married mean about as much as we're strangers, because that's how we're treating one another while applying that word. So one of the jobs of every circle, because in a circle, in a community, you have language is often one of the symbolic vessels for different meanings, is to challenge and to require that the symbol be treated with respect, that you notice I'm now in the temple, I'm now wearing the garb, I'm now in this role. And for this role to matter in my commune, in my community, in my cult, then I have to treat the role with respect. And one of the ways to do that is to have rituals of initiation into the role and rituals of disrobing from the role. Because on the one hand, you have the potency of one person studying and having a calling for a role their entire life. And on the other hand, you have the recognition of the priest inside and priestess inside each one of us. You have the recognition of the lover within each one of us. And so when you take on the role, when you attune to that part in yourself that is the embodiment of that role, then you have the right to wear the trappings for that period of time. And when one cannot hold the role, because no one is purely one archetype, when one cannot hold the role, one can dismantle and remove the trappings, the symbol, and move into a different archetype, become an ordinary human being, and differentiate between the symbol and the energy field, the pattern and protocol that the symbol is representing.